Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into an area that, yeah, it's often seen as just administrative grunt work, but trust me, it's actually a strategic powerhouse. Imagine a world where your best potential suppliers, or really innovative ones, can onboard in like days instead of weeks.
Right.
Or where you uncover hidden cost savings just by making that entry process smoother. We're talking about vendor registration.
Yeah.
And it's just so much more than paperwork. It's really foundational for business success.
Yeah, and it truly is, because when you get vendor registration right,
Yeah.
it doesn't just tidy up your files, like you said.
Yeah.
It fundamentally transforms how an organization operates. It impacts, well, everything from efficiency straight through to competitive advantage.
Okay.
So yeah, prepare for some genuine aha moments, I think, about how mastering this seemingly small task can really elevate an entire business.
Precisely. And that's exactly what we're going to try and unravel today. We'll be looking at the nuts and bolts, right? The key benefits, those must-have components of a great registration form, the best practices that, separate the good from the great. And of course, those common pitfalls we all need to steer clear of. Think of this deep dive as your express lane, sort of, to understanding how to turn what often feels like admin drudgery into a genuine strategic asset.
Okay.
So how exactly does this, translate into practical advantage? When we talk about efficient vendor registration, we're not just organizing paperwork, are we?
No, not at all.
We're actually talking about transforming how procurement operates and, crucially, how vendors perceive your organization.
That perception piece is key.
It really is. Our research highlights a striking statistic here. Companies that streamline these processes report a massive 40% faster supplier onboarding time.
Wow, 40%.
Think about that. 40% faster plus significantly higher vendor satisfaction scores. That's not just, efficiency.
Yeah.
That's a clear competitive advantage. In a tight market, being the organization that makes it easiest for those innovative, high-quality suppliers to get on board, that can mean the difference between leading your industry and just, trying to keep up.
Yeah.
It's really about attracting the best talent to your supply chain.
And what's fascinating here, I think, is how those tangible benefits ripple out, like far beyond just the procurement department.
Right.
Yes, you gain faster time to contract, often reducing it from weeks down to mere days, which is already huge. But that improved data quality, which comes from standardized collection, directly benefits finance teams. You get cleaner vendor data, smoother payments.
Makes sense.
Legal teams. They gain much better visibility into contractual relationships, compliance.
Okay.
And then at the executive leadership level, they get crucial insights into things like supplier diversity, overall risk exposure across the entire vendor portfolio. It's a holistic improvement.
Right.
It really impacts decision-making from the top right down to the bottom.
Yet, despite these incredibly clear advantages, that ripple across the whole organization, it's kind of a paradox, isn't it?
It is.
It seems so obvious, but so many organizations still treat vendor registration as, an afterthought. Why do you think that is?
That's an excellent question, and it often comes down to perception, I think, which raises an important question itself. What exactly goes into crafting that ideal vendor registration form?
Yeah, the form itself.
Because that form is truly the core tool here. And it's a delicate dance, as some experts describe it. You're balancing collecting comprehensive information with, maintaining user-friendliness.
Right. You need enough, but not too much.
Exactly. You need enough data for a proper assessment, but too much information creates what they call information overload, and that leads to abandonment.
Oh, yeah.
I've personally seen forms running like 15 pages long, and guess what?
Nobody fills them out.
Nobody completes them,
Wow.
or they do it badly.
15 pages. I can almost hear the vendors groaning from here. It's like asking them to write a novel just to sell you, I don't know, office supplies.
Light chuckle.
Perfect.
So, okay, what absolutely must be in there, what our research is very clear on, are the essential sections every form should include. This is where you kind of lay the groundwork for a solid partnership.
Right. The non-negotiables.
Exactly. First up, company information. We're talking legal name, DBA, business structure, years in operation, and that last one isn't just a number, right? It can be a quick indicator of stability.
Especially for newer partnerships, yeah.
Especially, yeah, and any parent-company relationships. Then there's contact details, primary, billing, shipping, maybe emergency contacts.
Crucial.
Financial information is key, things like bank references, maybe credit ratings, annual revenue, and for larger contracts, definitely financial statements. Legal and compliance, that covers your tax IDs, business licenses, insurance certificates, any regulatory materials.
Standard stuff, but essential. Then, capabilities and services. So, product catalogs, service descriptions, certifications, areas of expertise. You need to know what they actually do.
Right, and how well they do it.
Which leads to references, customer testimonials, past performance records. You need that proof.
Absolutely.
Diversity information is increasingly important too, covering minority, women, veteran, or small business certifications.
Very much so.
Quality assurance, this asks about things like ISO certifications, quality management systems, or QMS, which really shows a commitment to consistency, right?
It does, yeah. And testing capabilities fall under that, too.
And technology integration, looking at EDI, e-commerce capabilities, system compatibility. This one's actually crucial because it's about making sure your systems can talk to each other.
Minimizing that manual data entry nightmare.
Exactly. All the errors and delays that come with it. And finally, pricing structure, outlining standard models, discounts, payment terms. Got to know how the money works.
And for every single one of those sections, it is just vital to include clear instructions and examples.
Examples, yeah.
You can't assume vendors know exactly what format you need or what specific document you're looking for. It's about anticipating their questions and guiding them through it.
Making it easy.
The whole goal, like we said, is to make it as easy as possible for suppliers to give you accurate, complete information the first time around, less back and forth.
Now, here's where we really start to unlock the power of this, I think. Beyond just the basic sections, we've covered some proven best practices. These are the things that separate the merely good forms from the truly great ones.
Okay, the secret sauce?
Kind of. You should always start with just the essential information, the absolute must-haves, and then use progressive disclosure.
Right, showing more fields based on answers.
Exactly. So if a supplier selects service provider, maybe the form automatically hides all the product specification fields. It just makes it far less cluttered, much faster to complete.
Or
Crucially, use clear, jargon-free language. Your suppliers aren't mind readers, right? And they come from all sorts of different industries.
good point. Avoid internal acronyms.
Definitely. Implement smart validation. This catches errors in real time, not after they hit submit. Think of it like trying to type a letter into a phone number field.
And it flags it immediately.
Yeah, the form instantly tells you, hold on, that's not right. Saves everyone a headache later. Keep the form itself simple and straightforward.
Seems obvious, but often missed.
It is. And here's a really smart tip. Pre-qualify vendors to prevent fraud. Ask for addresses, certifications, registration numbers early on to verify legitimacy.
Basic checks up front.
Provide file upload capabilities, obviously, but with clear specifications on file types and sizes. Include progress indicators so vendors know, am I halfway done? Nearly there?
Reduces anxiety, yeah.
Offer multiple save options so they can start it, get interrupted, come back later. Life happens.
Essential.
And given how we work today, please make sure you have mobile responsive designs. People fill these out on tablets, phones.
All the time.
Use conditional logic similar to progressive disclosure to show or hide whole sections based on vendor type or answers. Build in help features like little tooltips, examples right there on the form, contact info if they get stuck.
Lower the barrier to asking for help.
Right. And maybe most importantly, test extensively with actual vendors before you launch this thing. Get their feedback.
Crucial. Don't test in a vacuum.
And finally, always provide confirmation messaging that clearly explains, okay, what happens next? What are the timelines? Don't leave them hanging.
That's spot on. Because, look, your registration form is often a vendor's very first substantive interaction with your organization.
True. First impression.
It needs to demonstrate the professionalism and efficiency they can expect, throughout the business relationship. And remember, communication is key throughout this entire process.
How so?
Well, make sure your own internal employees who will interact with these suppliers, plus all the stakeholders within your suppliers' companies, are fully aware of the timelines, the goals, the benefits of this onboarding process.
Get everyone on the same page.
Exactly. And you also need to be proactive with follow-up because, let's be honest, your suppliers might not be quite as enthusiastic about your internal processes as you are.
Slightly. Fair point. Okay, now for the reality check. Even with perfect design, all the best practices, problems will arise.
Oh, inevitably.
I mean, we've heard stories, right? Procurement professionals can practically tear their hair out over forms that look perfect on paper but just fail miserably in practice.
Mm-hmm.
When I look at these pitfalls, what immediately jumps out at me is how often they seem like, well, self-inflicted wounds. Is that your experience too?
Absolutely. If we connect this back to the bigger picture, many organizations often unknowingly create these barriers for themselves.
Right.
The frequent pitfalls. Well, number one is that very problem of information overload we talked about. Vendors just abandon lengthy or confusing forms.
Too much friction.
Exactly. Then there's duplicate data entry, asking for the same info multiple times in different sections.
Mm-hmm.
So frustrating for the vendor.
Yeah.
Unclear requirements, leaving vendors guessing what you actually need. Technical difficulties, file uploads failing, submission errors, browser compatibility issues.
Tech gremlins.
They always show up. A really common complaint is a lack of communication about their registration status or if information is missing. Just silence.
Leaving them in the dark.
Then you see inconsistent requirements across different departments within the same organization. Finance wants one thing, procurement wants another.
Chaos.
Yeah. Outdated information requests asking for data that's no longer relevant or needed. Then there are integration issues. Poor integration with existing procurement or ERP systems, which means someone internally is doing manual reentry.
Defeating the purpose.
Totally.
Oops.
Insufficient follow-up when incomplete information is submitted. Someone needs to chase that down. And finally, version control problems, especially if multiple stakeholders are tweaking the form without coordination.
Oh, boy.
It gets messy.
And the consequence of all these barriers, it's not just frustration, is it? They can actually prevent good quality vendors, maybe especially smaller, more innovative suppliers, from even completing the registration.
Precisely.
So the real aha here is realizing your inefficient paperwork isn't just a nuisance internally, it's an active barrier potentially stopping your organization from finding its next great partner or a more cost-effective solution.
You're absolutely right. It actively limits your potential supplier pool.
Wow.
And the ultimate solution, really, to navigating all these challenges is just regular review and optimization.
Keep looking at it.
Yeah. What worked for your organization 5 years ago or even 2 years ago might not serve your current needs or, importantly, current vendor expectations. It's an ongoing process, definitely not a one-time setup.
Okay, so wrapping this up then.
Yeah.
What does this all mean for you listening? Our deep dive today has hopefully underscored that a well-thought-out vendor registration process is a true strategic asset. It's not just admin.
Not just admin, no.
It genuinely impacts your efficiency, your relationships, your risk profile, and ultimately, yeah, your bottom line.
And maybe for a final provocative thought to leave folks with, how might optimizing this seemingly small process, this vendor registration thing, actually unlock unexpected opportunities? Opportunities for, say, innovation or resilience in your organization's supply chain. Simply by making it easier for valuable partners, maybe ones you don't even know exist yet, to join your ecosystem. Think beyond just the immediate obvious benefits. Consider the hidden costs of not optimizing it, those partners you don't find, the efficiencies you don't gain, and the innovations you might be missing out on right now.